how do you think climate change affects animals with disabilities in the wilds?
Well, climate change increases the stress of survival on many animals. And animals with disabilities are some that might survive with a less stressful environment will have a harder time surviving in a more stressful environment. So if you're competing for food and resources, or if you're trying to get away from a desperate predator, or migrating across bigger distances, so these animals will have a harder time surviving. And the first animals that are usually uh, pass away, die, either because they can't hunt or because they're being hunted easier because they're the slowest one in the herd. These are the first to go away. And if the herd is going from 2 million animals to 1.5 million animals, the 500 who died are usually the weaker ones. And weaker, again, it can be disability, or it can be genetic, or it can be, I don't know, other characteristics that make them less likely evolutionary wise. I mean, it doesn't have to be disability. Maybe they don't have the advantage of the other ones in that sense. But that's the way evolution goes. I mean, evolution is a very cruel process that only the fittest survive, or the luckiest survive. And those who lack the potential are usually the ones that get out of the system sooner.
Exactly. I just want to close on one more aspect, which is how do you think, with climate change going on and different animals going extinct every few years, or perhaps even more frequently in recent years, um, what role does tourism play in speeding up or slowing down that process?
Tourism, and sustainable tourism, I'll be more precise in that, actually helps save the environment. And even we're seeing it right now because I have a lot of contacts in Africa, and a lot of the rhinos that were hunted for their horn, for the Chinese traditional medicine, were transformed into tourism resources. So a lot of tourists come to watch the rhinos, and a rhino is worth more alive than dead. So for a dead rhino, you can get $55,000 for the horn. For a live rhino during tourism, it's worth around $80,000 to $120,000 alive. So it's in the best interest of the people to keep the rhino alive and not kill it. The same with the mountain gorillas. So the mountain gorillas in the impenetrable forest in Uganda, they were hunted and they were critically endangered. There were less than 1,000 mountain gorillas left in the world. And thanks to sustainable tourism and really expensive permits, I mean, the permits is $600 to $750 per person per day. And you can only hire someone local from the community. So their livelihood is based on tourism of people who want to come over and see the mountain gorillas. So each mountain gorilla was worth $10,000 dead and now $80,000 alive. So that's a huge difference. So instead of killing the gorillas, they're now looking after them and making sure that nobody harms their gorillas, because if they do, the community is losing money. The same with the tortuguero in Costa Rica that were hunting, catching and selling sea turtles for soup and food. And now they have a lot of tourism based on those sea turtles. So again, worth alive more than dead. So in that, and I have countless more examples. So in that sense, tourism is raising the value of animals alive rather than dead. So the community has interest in preserving nature and the habitats and the animals themselves, for their own sake. I mean, and you know, they say that money makes the world go round. The same in this case. If you're starving and a dead rhino can save your life, people will kill the rhino, and that's how it goes. So sustainable tourism is good for the environment, and there is destructive tourism as well, like the hunters and people who go for trophy hunting and so on. And there is destructive tourism in the sense of, you know, people who are ruining beaches and resorts, ruining sea coral reefs just to build another resort. So these can be also destructive. So it can be sustainable and it can be destructive. It all depends on how you do it in that sense.
Yeah, no, that's a very I haven't heard anybody else put it quite that way, where, you know, sustainable tourism can help save animals, and
Absolutely.
perhaps help people be willing to maintain the environment better as well.
So now with the tourism down, we see more cases of rhinos being hunted for their horn, because their horns are still being sold for that price, and tourists don't come, so they don't make money off tourism and people are starving.
Yeah, that's a really good point.